Hello there YouTube, I am back with another video, and this time with another deck profile. For this deck profile, I've got a very nice budget and competitive-esque deck that is really consistent and a lot of fun to play. And that deck is pure Zoo, as you can see here. Yes, Zoo got kind of slowed down when they got hit and then also Links came out and stuff like that. But the deck is still a lot of fun and can do some really cool things, and is now being played the way Konami essentially wanted them to be played, which is just make one monster with a load of materials. And the deck can actually do a lot of things, like have a 7700 attack monster that can attack directly or higher, and just has really good protection with the way I've built them. Without further ado, I'll show you the way I've built them. This deck, at the moment, on its record, I've done 70 games with this deck. Not matches, games, so singular rounds. I've done 70 games, and not once have I had a brick. I've not had a brick hand at all yet. So, by far the most consistent deck I've ever owned, and one of my most fun. To start off, you run 3 Zoodiac Farah Blade. Now, a Farah Blade, when is normal special summoned, gets to discard one Zoodiac monster from your hand. Oh, actually, Zoodiac card from your hand, and then you get to draw one card. Then, obviously, when you Xyz with the Zoodiac card, usually you get an extra effect onto that Xyz, and Farah Blade gives the Xyz monster the ability to do piercing battle damage. Next is 3 Zoodiac Whiptail. So Whiptail is a non-once per turn effect where if he's in the hand or field, you can attach him into a Zoodiac Xyz monster's materials. So you get to boost up your Xyz monsters, plus he gives them the effect that if it battles an opponent's monster, during the damage step the opponent's monster is banished. So extremely useful card, and I often use a lot of Whiptails when I'm dueling. Next is 3 Zoodiac Ram. Now Ram, if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, which you can like blow it up with Rampage, you can summon one Zoodiac monster from your graveyard, except Ram. And then when you put this in a material, it gives the Xyz monster the effect to negate a trap effect that would target the Xyz monster, and negate it by detaching Xyz material. Then next, for the last 3 cards, 2 Bunny Blast, which is when she's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one Zoodiac card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And then when it's put into the materials, if a spell card would target the Xyz, like the monster this is attached to, you can attach one Xyz material and negate that spell and destroy it. The final Zoodiac monster is 1 Ratpear. Ratpear isn't as good anymore, by far the worst Zoodiac monster in the deck, but that doesn't mean he's bad, or she. It doesn't mean they're bad, so when Zoodiac Ratpear is normal summoned, or yeah, just normal summoned, you can send one Zoodiac card from your deck to the grave. And then when you use Zoodiac, well, you put this in the materials, you get to detach one, summon a Ratpear from deck, but you can't do that anymore. But the sending a Zoodiac card from deck to grave is really useful, since if you only have Ratpear in hand, you can send Ratpear, then you can make any of your random Zoodiac Xyz that you don't really mind detaching. Then you go into Tiger Mortar, and then you just attach the one you just sent to your graveyard to that Xyz monster, so Ratpear's still good. Next is 2 Effect Veiler. So obviously Hand Trap's pretty good right now. I would want to run 3 of this, but I didn't really know what to take out. If you do want to run 3, I would suggest taking out Compulse, but I like running Compulse since sometimes it can stop some things. But I run 2 Effect Veiler since it's budget, and it's actually one of the better hand traps now. And then 1 Ghost Ogre, since I only own 1 Ghost Ogre, and I would run 2 if I had to. Now onto the spells. You only run 15 monsters, and one thing I realized is, when I built this deck on Nexus, I looked at it and went, there's no way this can work. And it works incredibly well, which I'm really surprised. But the next 3 cards is 3 Zoodiac Barrage. This card is amazing. So it's a continuous card. You can, once per turn, you can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon one Zoodiac monster from your deck. You can only use the effect of that once per turn. And if Zoodiac Barrage is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can attach it to an Xyz monster, so it gives you an extra thing to detach that won't reduce your Zoodiac's Xyz monster's attack. The next 3 is 3 Fire Formation Tenki, and yes, the rarities I've got are triggering. So I got an Ultra from Joey, and then I ordered 2 just so it would help save a couple quid. So the 2 I ordered though were golds, so sorry about the rarity. Continuous effect, when this card's activated you add 1 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior type monster from your deck to your hand, so all the Zoodiacs, and all Beast Warrior type monsters gain 100 attack. You can only use the effects once per turn. Then 2 Cosmic Cyclone to get rid of any pesky scales or like back row that you don't want to go against. Also, Quiet Life. I'm not going to mention any names, but I don't like that card. Next is 2 Scapegoat, and that's like, this is in here because I've built this as an OTK variant, and this I will usually use the 4 tokens to go into 2 Mrs. Radiance to up a Earth monster by 1,000, and that can actually win you the game. If you have Borrow Load, which I don't, run it in the extra deck because you can also use this for Borrow Load to like go into it, but you don't need it. You can run it if you want. And I'm talking about Borrow Load. Do run Scapegoat. This can save your life in general, but I like going in into 2 Mrs. Radiant when I use the tokens, just so I can increase the amount of damage I do. Next, 1 Upstart Goblin. I'm pretty sure nearly every deck profile I've uploaded has Upstart Goblin. I just like the card. And 2 Pot Desires, since you don't really care too much about banishing your cards. It's not too important, you just need to see at least 1 Zoodiac monster and you're fine, or a way to get to a Zoodiac monster. Next is 1 Monster Reborn, since we've got Monster Reborn, it's great, so you can just summon back Whiptail from the grave if you need and more attack gain, and then if you don't have any monsters to Xyz summon, you can just use Monster Reborn, get back one of your Zoodiacs from the grave, and then go into Xyz monsters. So, just great. And to help with that as well, for like revivals, because you need ways, if your like big monsters are gone and you haven't drawn a monster, to just get monsters back from the grave. So, Shuffle Reborn, if you control no monsters, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and then when it's in the grave, you can banish this card, target 1 card you control, return it to the deck and draw a card, but during the end phase you must discard a card. You mainly use it for its summon effect though. 1 Mistaken Arrest, this is one of my favourite cards to run in decks if I have room, because this stops a lot of decks. It's basically Droll and Lockbird, so it's a quick play spell. Until the end of your next turn after this card resolves, neither player can add cards from their deck to the hand except by drawing them. So any deck that heavy searches is completely, like, not rendered useless, but they will struggle. So I love running this card. You can put whatever you want in. I just really recommend this card. It's helped me so much. I just love how I packed this ages ago when I first started, because I love the gold sets. Not many people do, but I really do. And I got this, and I looked at it and was like, that's not useful. And now I look at it and goes, that's incredible. The next card is Dark Hole. Can't wait for Rogeki's reprint, because that's going in here until, well, when it comes out, because it's so much better than Dark Hole. So, if you have Rogeki, put Rogeki in, but wait till the reprint if you're a budget player. Now for the traps, 2 Zoodiac combo. Now this is funny. I ordered the wrong goddamn card when I was building this. So, the site I was using said that this was Zoodiac Gathering, and then Zoodiac Gathering was Zoodiac Combo as the names. So I ordered Zoodiac Gathering thinking I would be getting combo, but I got this, and I didn't want this, so I had to bike to the other to my friend to get Zoodiac Combo, because he had them, so I had to go in like a 25-minute bike ride just to get 2 cards. But what Zoodiac Combo does is, you can activate it by targeting one of your Zoodiac Xyz and then attaching one of your Zoodiac monsters from your deck to it as material. When it's in the grave, you can banish it from the grave, shuffle 5 Zoodiac cards into the deck and draw 1 card. So it helps graveyard recursion. Next is 1 Solemn to negate summons. If you have Solemn Strike, run that. I don't. Then 2 Bottomless, since we've got multiple Bottomless now, and this deck really wants to protect its Xyz monster as much as it can, so that's why I run quite a lot of defensive stuff. 1 Compulse. This is obviously the kind I said that take it out to put a 3rd Effect Veiler in if you want. And the final 2 cards are 2 Storming Mirror Force. If your opponent attacks, return all their attack position monsters to the hand. Since links can't be changed to face down defense and stuff, and most cards can't be destroyed by card effect. So, yeah, run 2 Storming Mirror Force. So, 40 card main deck. And now for the extra deck. For my favourite card, Zoodiac Tiger Mortar. I love this card. Best artwork. Love it. You can Xyz summon it using... Every single Zoodiac monster can be Xyz summoned using only 1 Zoodiac monster that you control. But it has to be a different name. Which, basically, all the main deck monsters... But you can't put a tiger on top of a tiger. And you can only summon each of them once per turn. What Tiger Mortar does is you can detach 1 Xyz material, and then take one of your Zoodiac monsters in your grave and add it to its materials. So usually what I do is I go into Hammer Kong, and then I go into put Tiger Mortar on top of Hammer Kong, detach Hammer Kong, and then put any Zoodiac monster I've got in my grave into Tiger Mortar that will make her gain attack. Since all Zoodiac Xyz monsters gain attack equal to the amount of attack that the monsters in its material has. So if you've got a 1200 and a 1600, you've got a 2800 attack monster. So this deck can go really high attack if you play it right. I run 1 Chuckanine since I didn't have enough to order multiple. I would be running 2, but I don't have enough to run multiple. I don't really summon Chuckanine that much, so I haven't actually run into any problems only running 1. So I do recommend running at least 1 though. So Chuckanine detaches its Xyz material and targets one of your Zoodiac monsters in the graveyard, special summons it, but it loses its effects and it cannot be used for an Xyz summon. So it's not overly important if you don't have 3, but at least have 1, because multiple times I've been able to punch for a lot of damage and with Borbo, and then needed that extra like 200 damage, and one of my Zoodiac monsters in the grave had more attack than an opponent's monster to do that like perfect amount that I needed to finish them. So I only really summon Chuckanine for that kind of thing. Next is 3 Borbo. So Borbo can attack directly, so he is your main card that you go into battle phase with. I don't think he has any Xyz material effects. Actually, well, he does though. He doesn't have any detaching effects. His big boss effect is if this card attacks and deals damage when it has 12 Xyz materials, and I've actually pulled this off once, only once though, it will send every card on your opponent's field and hand to the graveyard. So it doesn't destroy, it doesn't target, it just sends them. So if you manage to pull it off, you've pretty much screwed your opponent. Next is 3 Hammer Kong. Now, Hammer Kong, in my opinion, is the worst Zoodiac monster, because now you only really summon 1 big beat stick. I only use him to go summon Hammer Kong and then put Tiger Mortar on top of Hammer Kong to detach him. But other than that, I don't recommend like keeping Hammer Kong on the field, since Hammer Kong during the end phase detaches an Xyz material, and his effect is your opponent cannot attack other Zoodiac monsters apart from this card, but you only really control 1 Zoodiac monster, so that effect's essentially useless. I just use him to be detached. Next is just link monsters. You can take Deco, Proxy, or Firewall out for either your Borrow Load if you have one, or literally the other 2 chuck a 9 if you want to run more. So run the 1 Firewall, you can summon it. I just have it in there because it looks pretty. Quite literally, that's it. 1 Decode, 2 Mrs. Radiant, and Proxy Dragon. So Mrs. Radiant requires 2 Earths, and the reason I run 2 and then go into 2 of them with Scapegoat is because Mrs. Radiant lets them gain 500, so if you have 2, all Earths gain 1000, all Winds lose 800 if you have 2. And when it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target 1 Earth monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So I just use Mrs. Radiant with Scapegoat to make the 1000 go to my Xyz monsters, and then I can deal as much damage as I possibly can. So that is my Zoodiac deck profile though. I love this deck to pieces. It's so much fun to play the way it was intended to be played. I love the artworks, which is what intrigued me to try them out in the first place. And it's the most consistent deck I've ever built. Really love this deck though. Just over the moon with it. And I'm gonna be thorough with you, but it's not dead. It's really good. Sorry for the pun. If you enjoyed this video, please consider sticking around and hitting that sub button, because I would really appreciate if that you stuck around for more of my content. I know I'm not brilliant, but I'm kind of that rogue player that can make some pretty nice rogue decks. I will hopefully be able to make a duel video if I can next week, so that will be cool, using these. If not, I'll make some hand demonstrations to show you some combos, since I've done quite a few deck profiles. Unless you guys want to see the other decks I've made, which include Phantom Knight, Cubics, and a few others, let me know. I want to try and get one of my friends' Odd Eyes deck profile on the channel, because his deck profile for Odd Eyes is absolutely awesome, even without Heavy Metal for Electrum. You don't need it. I also want to get him in a duel video just to show off his deck. I also want to hopefully get another one of my friends who uses Mech Knights. I want his deck profile on here, since his take on Mech Knights is really, really interesting. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll hope to see you guys in the next one. Later.